Hi everyone, it's Gina with GGH Creations and Crafts, and we are here for day 3 of our chocolate caramel sundaes. So yesterday we took our sundae glass, or 2 days ago, and I showed you how to make the caramel and the fudge drips on the inside of your glass. Then we used the lightweight spackle with just a hint of white paint in it, and we put it on the inside of the glass, fairly thin, but enough to make all of the areas on the outside when you're looking at it all fill in. We've let this dry for 24 hours. So now we've got our cup and we're ready to go from this to this. So as you can see, there's still some empty space in there. I like to use, it depends on the cup and the style I'm doing. I might use a toilet paper roll and then some cardboard on top to make kind of an even edge. For this one, because it's got the spackle inside and it kind of is just different thickness all the way through, so I'm just going to use some of the poly roll stuffing, and I'm just going to put some of this inside and I'm going to shove it down in there just so it's down in there enough to almost be even here where my edge starts to flute out. All right, so we've got that full. And then I have 2 different molds here. No, thank you. I have my ice cream mold and then I have my chocolate brownie mold. So the first thing we are going to do is make some ice creams, the vanilla ice cream, to kind of sit on top of here. Like you can see right here, I've got the chocolate, no, the cat's bothering. You can see the vanilla ice cream right there, and that's what I want to do first. So we have our ice cream mold. I'm going to use just a little bit of the vegetable oil spray and put just a tiny dollop on the inside. Oops. And I'm going to use a paintbrush around on the inside of my mold to coat it. And all that does is help if your clay is in there, just so it doesn't stick to the inside of your molds. And I just use a paintbrush and a regular old vegetable oil spray. Nothing fancy. All right, I've got that one in there. I'm going to take my white clay and we're going to take some out. We've got a little bit left in there. Condition our clay so that way we can use it in the mold. And I'm going to make 3, I think I'm just going to do 3 scoops of vanilla ice cream. I may have to do a couple more. We'll see how it fits in there. Each of these glasses is just a little bit different shape. This one's kind of got the flowery edge, where this one was straight. And the other one that I have going is also just kind of a straight edge. All right, so close up my clay so it doesn't dry out. And we are just going to condition our clay slightly so it's all ready and pliable. Like I said, I think I'm going to make 3 ice creams. I'll just take some out. Probably a little too much, maybe. I'll roll it into a nice smooth ball so my edges don't have wrinkles. And then I'm going to push it down in there. Yeah, a little too much, which is okay. Push it down. I kind of mounded at the top. I'm going to just cut that piece off. And over here, go back in and smooth it all down. And then I'm going to take it out of the mold. And you can see our vanilla ice cream. And I'm just going to place that right there in the top. Oh, and it fits in there perfect. A piece of dirt on there. Actually, I think it's a piece of chocolate. All right, and it's gonna sit right in the top. I am, because this is really dry, I'm going to use some super glue. And I'm going to put the super glue right on the outside edges where that is going to stick, just to help keep it in place, since that was, there's the stuffing in there. And this is just going to hold, I'm putting it on the inside, going to hold my ice cream in place. That's all. So it has something to grab onto. So there. It's on the super glue. It's going to stick in there. And now I've got the one in the center, but I think I'm going to do one on each side also, which is what I did in this one. And it kind of worked. So we are going to do, I don't have to, get my super glue out of the way. I do not have to put the oil back in the mold. One time is plenty. No, thank you. Go. The cat can smell the vegetable oil. Get out. No, no, no. Okay, shove that down in there. Make sure it's down in there good. A little extra. Cut that off. I'm going to take it out of the mold. And you can see we have another perfectly scooped ice cream. And because this one is still wet, this will stick to it. However, I am going to put a little bit of super glue on the side over here on my dried spackle, just to give it another layer of it sticking, because I don't want it to pop out. And then I'm just going to kind of push my ice cream down. So you can see where. And I'm going to do one more on this side over here, I think. And then I may need to flatten the top out for our brownie. We will see. A little more clay. All right. Condition our clay. I think these will be really cute when they're done. We'll add some ice cream on top. We'll add some fake nuts, some chocolate sauce, cherry on top. Okay, I'm going to add it right on this side right here, and I know that's too much clay. Put it in the mold, squish it down. Get out of the mold. Have our third ice cream. I'm going to do the same thing over on this side, where I'm going to put my super glue on the dried spackle, just as another layer. The clay is going to stick to the clay, but I want to make sure it sticks to that right there also. I'm going to kind of squish it down a little bit because I want it to be a little bit flat. There. And you can kind of see how I squish the top down so it's flat. Okay, we have our ice cream. I'm going to put my white clay away. And then we're going to, no. Okay, I'm back. Had a little cat problem. Okay, now what we're going to do is use some of our brown clay. I want to make the brownie with brown clay, and you can see how I made this one kind of shiny like it was frosted. I'm going to show you how to do that also. All right, so I have my brownie mold, and I'm going to do the same thing to this that I did to the ice cream. I'm going to put a little bit of vegetable oil in there, and I'm just going to use my paintbrush and make sure that I get my corners, my bottom, my sides, all have just a little bit on there just to help keep the clay from sticking and coming out of the mold. All right, doesn't need a ton. Okay, so I'm gonna move that over here, and let's see, that looks like we are going to use a chocolate clay. You can see the color there. I'm going to take some clay out of my bag. Yeah, that might be good. Okay. Going to condition our clay again. So we can use it. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did in my ice cream mold. I'm going to kind of smooth the edges out because I don't want wrinkles from the clay showing through the mold. I'm going to kind of make it into a shape that I think it'll fit in there. And I'm going to push it down in my mold, and I want to make sure I get it into all my corners. I'm just going to work the clay down into the mold and make sure that I've got it all the way to the bottom. And if you run out and you need more, you just plop some more in the top. Okay. There, you can see the chocolate in the mold. I'm gonna swing it out, and you can see that. And I am going to set this on top. I am going to get a toothpick though, just to get another layer of, so it doesn't move. Be right back. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I have my chocolate brownie, and I'm going to want to just set it kind of on top like that, so it's on top of my ice cream. What I am going to do is I have these small thin skewers that don't know where my wire cutter is. Just these thin skewers that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to cut a piece of the one off, and we're going to super glue it inside there. So these you can, whoops, kind of break off, that aside, use my super glue. Actually, I think I'm going to cut that into 2 smaller pieces. There. And I'm going to just super glue a little bit on there, stick it into my vanilla ice cream. Yeah. Almost out of super glue. I'm going to stick it in so it's got a little bit of sticking up the top. Do some with the other one. Ooh, now it's coming out. So I have 2 of them. Put a little bit of super glue here. And a little bit on this one. And all this does is help reinforce my brownie on top. Okay, so now I have my brownie, and I'm going to kind of center it over the top, and I'm just going to very gently put it on where those toothpicks are. And you can see I've got my brownie on top of my ice cream. Okay, and I'm going to just try to make sure I've got it centered the way I want it. Messy. Okay, now you can see when it dries, it's going to dry just a tad darker. And the one that I already had done, I added like a glaze on top because I wanted it to look like it was frosted. So let me show you. You don't have to do that, but let me show you how if you want to. So we are going to use just a Dixie cup and a little bit of Mod Podge. And if I can get it open, maybe. Okay, so I have my Mod Podge, my Dixie cup, and I'm just going to pour just a little bit into my Dixie cup. I don't need a ton, just a very small amount. Set that back off to the side, and I'm going to use my burnt umber paint, which is the color I like to use for chocolate, and I'm going to just squirt some of that in here and use a popsicle stick to just stir it up, and that's going to give it a chocolatey color. This Mod Podge is a gloss, so it will be shiny when it dries. Okay, like I said, I don't have a ton. I actually might need just a smidge more. There we go. And if you have to adjust because you don't have enough or you need a darker color, just add a little bit more paint. Okay, I think that is good. And you can kind of see the chocolate in there. And all I'm going to do is take my popsicle stick with some on there, and as if I was brushing it on with a paintbrush, which you can use also, And I'm just gonna kind of coat my brownie top with this. It almost looks milk chocolatey right now as I'm putting it on. It will not dry that color. So it's a very light, it's a little bit lighter of a brown, but when it dries, it's going to dry more of a deeper chocolate, which is kind of the look I'm going for, like a chocolate iced cake might be. Okay, I'm just going to continue doing this until I get my top covered the way I want. And if you run out, just make a little more. All right, get it there, just a little bit more over here on the edge. And this I'm going to let dry for about 24 hours also. So when we come back tomorrow, we will finish this one. We'll actually finish these two different ones so you can see what they look like in the different size glasses. And then the glass that we just did the inside of, we'll finish that one also. And that one we might do a little bit different. Instead of just the brownie on top, we might come up with a different idea for that one. So these two right here so far are going to be our chocolate caramel brownie sundaes. So thanks for joining me for part 2. I will see you tomorrow for the next and final part. Thanks.